and let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right, perfect. So first off, can you tell me who you are outside of Gotham City Crew? What you do, hobbies, anything like that?
Well, I don't know if I should introduce myself because obviously it's recording now. I'm Lou DeMondo. I live in Jersey. I'm in law enforcement for the last 20 years. And, I'm a diehard Jets fan. And, a lot of what I do now is Jets related between events, community stuff, get togethers, gathering that we organize and, everything that ties into, what we do on and off during the on and off season of Jets football. So that's a little bit about me. I have a 1-year-old son. Um, the wife's expecting another boy in the end of July, so I'll have two under two, and hopefully I can keep that Jets legacy going on for another generation, and hopefully they'll see a lot more wins than I did.
Yes. Well, congratulations on another baby coming.
Thank you.
How did you become a Jets fan in the first place? Were you born into it? Family members were all fans?
No, and it's funny you ask this because I get this question quite often. There's usually, from what I saw, which I'm hoping to happen with my boys, is their dad went through it, their grandparents. For me, it was just spontaneous. It was one day turning on the TV when I was about, I want to say 9 or 10, could have been a little younger, and I was always into basketball. I was a big Jordan fan growing up. The Bulls, obviously the team of the '90s, and I started watching football. I played more basketball than football at the time, and it was something. Maybe it was just because I only had like 3 channels that worked in my room at the time, and we had the old TVs, and I think Channel 2 was one of the stations that came in pretty clear, and the Jets happened to be on one Sunday, and it was one of those teams where it was a true underdog. I think they might have been like 0-12 at the time, and I was rooting for them to win. And I think they finished the season 1-15 that year. And it was one of those things where, like, they got to win eventually, right? Nobody can't lose every
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
And sure enough, a couple years after that, they got maybe a year or two after that, they got Bill Parcells and the number one pick, and in '98 we were in the the AFC Championship game, playing against the Broncos with a first half lead. But I won't tell the rest of that story. And it's just something that grew on me. And then obviously after Jordan retired, basketball was kind of like on the decline for me, and football was just on the rise. And we went through the Vinny Testaverde era to the Chad Pennington, and we had some good seasons under Chad Pennington, some playoff games, and it just grew into, I don't want to say an obsession, but it was just a passion that I shared, and it seems like fellow Jet fans share that same passion, and that's where we connect the most.
Yeah, awesome. And are you located in New York?
No, actually, my partner, he's originally from Queens. I
Okay.
was always from Jersey. I was actually born in New York, but my parents came over to Jersey when I was less than a year old. So I'm basically born and raised in Jersey my entire life, North Jersey. I currently live now like maybe 25 minutes away from the stadium. So it's obviously real convenient for myself and everything that we do on game day. So I'm a Jersey boy through and through.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's talk about Gotham City Crew. How did it start? What inspired it? I know you got two other partners, so tell me that story on the uprising of Gotham City Crew.
So Gotham City Crew was founded in 2015 by my partner Claudio. He came up with an idea. He grew up as a big soccer fan, and as someone that's trying to learn the sport and trying to connect with fellow fans, he came up with a concept that's similar to what they have in soccer with their fan supporter clubs, and he wanted to be able to connect, even though he came late into the game in terms of fandom. He wanted to bring people together and share that passion, like they do in soccer. You can see they travel to different stadiums and all that, and they kind of take over a certain area. They do these massive tailgates, and that's kind of what he envisioned for Gotham City Crew. And he was actually doing in 2016 he was doing something where it was kind of like MTV Cribs, where he was going around to different tailgates, featuring the tailgates, what he loved about each tailgate. And he found me one day. He I think he hit me up on social media, and he said he wanted to come out, check out the tailgate if I didn't mind. At the time, it was just me and a bunch of coworkers, so it was like on average anywhere between like 10 to 20 people at our tailgate. It was kind of like a close lit family thing, and so I was like, yeah, come on over, not thinking anything of it. So he came over with a group of guys. He brought a bunch of Bud Lights at the time. I think he was sponsored by them, and he checked it out, and he kind of fell in love with the environment, the setup. Obviously, the setup I had then is not what it is today, but it was, I kind of made it similar to that, where we had, different little stations for guys to do, a gaming area, a bar, and obviously he connected with that whole vibe, which led to him sliding into my DMs that following summer. And he reached out to me and he was like, listen, I have an idea for Gotham City Crew. I want to talk to you about it. So he actually invited me to a comedy show in the city. And that's kind of where, we spoke, and he says he wants a home for Gotham City Crew, and he loves what I had going on, and he wanted to kind of be a part of that and eventually, expand on it, which, obviously brought us here today.
Yeah, that's awesome. What else do you guys do outside of tailgates at home games? What do you do for away games or any other events or activities?
So we made it a goal. Obviously, like any business starting off, it's always tough in the beginning. We literally were putting money out of our pockets, kind of, keep this thing going. You just don't want to have one tailgate here and then, just because the Jets are 2-14 and it's 10 degrees outside, oh, we're going to cancel events. We pride ourselves for, not canceling any tailgates since we started doing this on a larger scale since 2017. We've been through windstorms, rainstorms, snowstorms. We've been through, obviously we haven't had a playoff season yet, but we've been through 2-win seasons to 4-win seasons to a couple 7-win seasons. So, no matter what the situation's going on the field, we try to pride ourselves on what's going out, what's taking place outside the field, aka the parking lot. Lot J3, which is, home for Gotham City Crew. And we try to enhance that experience because not everybody's fortunate enough to have season tickets and able to attend. Obviously, as I'm learning, family life gets in the way pretty quick. So not everybody's able to attend every home game. So whether you're a season ticket holder or the casual fan that can go to 1, 2, 3 games a year, we're there. So that kind of, once we had that stability going on for the home games, we kind of parlayed it for the away games, and we kind of made it a point to, I think one year we actually made all the games home away. Obviously, if we would have had a playoff game, we would have been there for that too. And even when we don't personally attend, we take the time, we organize something so fans have a location. We partner up with other vendors. So Gotham City Crew has a presence. The Jets fans have a presence, and they can connect with other fans. So we're kind of like the hub. People reach out to us all the time. Are you going to this game? Are you going to that game? If so, what are you doing? And we try to, stay on top of that and connect our fans, our fellow fans together, so they have a place where they can all meet up.
Yeah, what does that mean to you to have all these fans? Obviously you guys have a big following on social media and people trying to figure out where you are. What does that mean to you and your partners?
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. It can be stressful at times, and I give Claudio a lot of credit. His thumbs never stop, especially when it comes to Gotham City Crew business. He tries to answer everybody. We jump in on social media. He's more of a, like, as I told you earlier off camera, he's a bubbly, socially guy, and he loves connecting, and that's why he's become so popular on social media. But it means a lot because obviously we're doing something right. If people didn't like the vibe that we're putting out, the service that we provide, so on and so forth, they wouldn't reach out. They wouldn't bother. They would try to do their own thing. The fact that we've had people that have been coming to our tailgate for the last 8 years, it just speaks volumes. And a lot of these people have actually become friends, sort of like family. One of the guys that we met at one of the away games in Green Bay, I was at his wedding last weekend, and I got to see him, marry the girl of his dreams, and that all started through the Jets, more than anything else. And it's funny because he's also in law enforcement. He's also a diehard Jets fan, but our paths would have never connected if it wasn't for one of the away games. And
Yeah.
I can't say how many people I've met throughout the years that live in Florida. There's actually a lot of Jets fans in Florida, I guess, because they retire and they go they go down to Florida. But Florida, all over the country. We got fans from UK, from Germany. Those guys are diehard Jets fans. They come out to Jersey, New York, a few times a year. They're at a bunch of the away games themselves, and it's just meeting these people and the excitement of, anytime I think about the draft, which is coming up in a few weeks, training camp. These are the people I reconnect with that I haven't saw since last season, and it's something that we all look forward to, and it's exciting because everybody's either growing their family, doing different things, and this is our time to connect through the Jets.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. What organization goes into it? Like, who's in charge of what? How do you plan these things? During season, every single week, it probably keeps you really busy. So, what's that organization style like?
So now, obviously we've gone through the years, and we have, other guys a part of the team. We got, Claudio's best friend Hector. He's helping us with designs, and we try to come up with new apparel every year. We have our hats that get done through New Era. Um, we have our entertainment portion of it. He started off as a vendor. Now he's more like a brother, and he helps us, with the website and stuff like that. Nikki, she's, a lot of times she's behind the scenes, but she controls what's going on, logistics with, with the finances and the preparation that it takes. I'm more of the blue collar guy. I get out there, I make sure everything gets executed. I make sure the staff is there. I make sure that these events, go on and they go on safely. And while I'm there, I'm part of the entertainment aspect and getting people involved. Our tailgates, I hate to call them tailgates because they're more like an event, like a wedding. We have all these different stations. When you get there, we set it up kind of like a street fair where we have vendors on each side, and then the middle of the tailgate's open, and each side has, whether we have the pizza bar, the photo booth, the DJ booth, the cigar booth. On the other side, we have the bar trailer where we serve our beverages. We have a video game station. We have different arcades. We have two buses where people can sit if the weather is a little cold, or if they have the kids, because I know kids, obviously, they need to stay busy. We put them out late. We let them go on the bus, and they hang out. They go on their phones. They do whatever they want to do on there. So we have all these different stations. So whether you're a single man coming to a game or you're coming with your kids, you feel comfortable. There's something for everybody to do, so to speak. So that's kind of like the breakdown, so to speak. Nikki does all the back channels. He's making sure our taxes are submitted on time. All the boring stuff that I don't have the capability of doing. Claudio, as I mentioned earlier, he's the guy that's probably 90% of the time answering your questions on social media, on emails, and organizing, these virtual meetings that we do, and everything else that ties into that. And I'm more of the getting the staff, the sponsorships, the different partnerships that that we have throughout the years. So everybody has their job, but it kind of like we all chip in to help each other out. So it's not like, hey, one day, Claudia's unavailable and we need to post something. I'm not going to do it on social media. We all try to chip in and help each other out when it's needed.
Yeah, well, you convinced me. I'm coming to one of your tailgates now.
Better, you'll be like, oh, you know what? He was right. It's actually a good time.
Yeah, this sounds awesome. Do you have a favorite memory over the years through the fan club itself? Maybe not necessarily a game or anything like that, but just a memory where the fan club is what brought you together. I know you mentioned you went to a buddy's wedding from the Packers. So anything else that just resonates with you?
Yeah, a couple years ago, a lot of what we do, besides to cover our expenses with any event that you do, obviously there's overhead. We also, anything that we start to make, because over the years we've become profitable. So our plan was to give it back. We do what we do to cover our expenses so we can continue to do this. But we're all fortunate enough to have good careers and good paying jobs where, you know what, everybody loves extra money, but what can we do to have a bigger impact for our community? So, a foundation that's near and dear to Gotham City Crew, the Marty Lyons Foundation. They work with terminally ill kids, and they help them grant wishes. And throughout the years, we grant a couple wishes, and whether it's meeting their favorite celebrity, whether it's equipment that's needed for them to go outdoors, we've been a part of that for a while now. I want to say for at least 6, 7 years. And anytime they do an event, like they usually submit a team for the 5 borough TD bike tour that goes around the 5 boroughs of New York. We participate in that. They have golf outings throughout the year that we participate in that. They have galas that we help and sponsor with that. And most of all, we anytime there's someone that needs a wish granted, we help with that as well. And one of the biggest, memories that came out of one of my fondest memories that came out of Gotham City Crew is, we were at one of these events and they honored us as a whole. And I had at the time, my partner, Claudio and Nikki, they just had their son. So unfortunate for them, they weren't able to attend. And I spoke on behalf of Gotham City Crew in a room with, some, celebrities, some, guys that been a part of this organization since it started. And for them to take a moment to recognize us as a whole, obviously means a lot. Anytime you give back, and I've done this with my profession. I've been something I learned early on in my career. There's more to law enforcement than handcuffs, tickets, and all that stuff. It's what kind of positive impact you can have on your community. So I've always been an advocate for higher education and raising up money for scholarships. And now with the Marty Lyons Foundation, we can pay it forward for the kids that, who knows how long they're gonna be on this earth with us, and we want to make sure, they get anything that they wish for, and that organization does a lot for kids throughout the country. And to be honored on that platform with a former Jets legend, is a memory I'll never forget, and that's all because of what we do with Gotham City Crew.
Wow, that's amazing. That's very impressive and just noble that you guys are doing that. What other mission and values do you guys have to make sure you engage your fans you have now and engage the new fans that are coming in or maybe don't know who you are?
So a big part of what we do during the off season, besides hibernate and take the time off to enjoy with our family, because if you think about it now, football season technically ends like almost in February. Yeah, obviously we hope one day the Jets are playing in mid-February, which means they'll be in the Super Bowl, but the season doesn't really end until February, and next thing you know, in April, we got the draft and everything starts to kick off. So during those few couple months where, everything's pretty quiet with the NFL, we sit back, we reflect on what worked for the tailgate, what kind of didn't, what we need to improve on, and what we can add to kind of enhance that experience. So every year we're like, all right, back to the drawing board. We loved, one year we had like not a separate station for food, but a guy that was making smash burgers and all that other stuff, which was great. And then this year we incorporated a pizza station, and everybody, they were like, obviously we've had pizza, and this guy that does our pizza now, from Triton Pizza, it's phenomenal. It's thin crust pizza, and he has a full topping bar. So you can imagine when you pull up to a tailgate, you get a fresh pizza out of an oven. I think nothing beats that. And you can eat pizza for breakfast, for lunch, depending on what time of the game. So long story short, that was a big hit, and now we're looking to build on to that. We have what I call shot o'clock, where we do every hour in the hour. We have one of our sponsors. They come out, we do a round of shots, but before we do a shot, we do a big Jets chant just to get everybody together, keep them engaged. So we kind of, every year we look for different ideas. We try to listen to some of the feedback that we get, because, a lot of times it's positive, but I know we're not, going to be able to please everybody, but it's our goal to try, So we always look for different ways. Claudio, with his video games, we started with one arcade. Now we're up to like 5 or 6 because he's like, we need more. We need this one. We need that. And, which when there's a lot of kids, it actually helps out because it keeps them entertained. It keeps them out of the way while the grown-ups are having fun with the adult games, whether it's flip cup, beer pong, things like that. So our mission statement during the off seasons is always, what can we do to make it better? Whether it's enhance the food menu, whether it's add another station. Part of that is what I do is try to, get sponsors, different sponsors and vendors to be a part of what we do, kind of like Fan Day, and, help us spread the word, help us add whatever product they have that we like to the tailgate, where we don't have to try to increase ticket costs. Because we know with inflation, gas, eggs, everything else that's going on in this world, we don't want to raise prices, but we also don't want to, water down the experience, because this, like you said, this may be your first time and you're like, well, I heard all this great stuff, but It doesn't seem like what they talked about. And we get it. Like any other business, sometimes you have to scale back. So we're trying to continue moving forward and enhancing that experience any way we can.
Yeah, and why did you choose to partner with Fan Day Nation? What drew you in? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but could you expand it a little bit more?
We've had our meetings, and I kind of, it's like talking to a mirror. Everything they're saying, everything that they're a part of, connecting different fan bases, and being that place where people can go to and connect. And I heard some of the community stuff that Fan Day's trying to do. It's everything that we preach and everything that we believe in. So I think it's like having another brother a part of this, and I think it's great when like-minded people work together, because you never know what they can achieve. And I think being a part of Fan Day, we can bring something to the table, and vice versa. And whenever you need a spot to come to for Jets games, we got you, whether it's on the road or at home. But I like everything that I've heard thus far, and we're looking forward to this upcoming football season and being part of the team.
Yes, absolutely. If someone was to come up to you and say they're thinking of starting their own fan club, what challenges did you face that you were not prepared for, and what advice would you give them?
Well, like anybody else, we don't discourage, and we also don't lie. We let them know it's a lot of work, and you got to be in it for the right reasons. If that old cliche saying, if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like you're working. Doesn't feel like. But again, this all started as, for me, it was I never dreamed in a million years that this will be a business, something that we can make money on. It was more, I was there. I've been a season ticket holder since 2004, and I never envisioned myself going anywhere else on game days when the Jets were at home. So, first of all, you got to be in it for the right reasons. You got to, create an environment that's friendly for everybody. Because, like anything else, if you make it too party crazy, someone with kids like myself, it's like, you know what? I don't want to bring my son around that. It's too early for him to experience something like that, which we understand, because we're all, you know, obviously Claudio, Nikki, and myself, we're all parents, and so we kind of think about everybody. We don't leave anyone out. So again, you got to be in it for the right reasons. You got to be committed to work like any startup business, and you got to have that passion and that drive to do it. And we encourage everybody. Listen, for every Gotham City Crew, there's Gangrene Germany. There's the 103 club. There was another couple other fan clubs that started, and then they disappeared. It's tough to do it, and if you're able to do it, why not? For every McDonald's, there's a Burger King. And the more the merrier. Anything to bring fans together, because I think as Jets fans, we kind of get a bad rap sometimes. They say Jets fans are nasty. And I'm not saying that we're not. There's obviously, like in every batch of apples, there's always a couple bad ones, but for the
Absolutely.
most part, these people, like I said, have become family. They're so kind, they're so passionate, and unless you know us, you won't know. You just see a mob of green people, and you kind of relate. I don't know if they related to Eagles fans, because the Eagles fans get a bad rap, and we know why. But yeah, and being that Philly and Jersey are kind of close to each other, pretty close, but we're nowhere near what the Philly fans are. We're passionate people, but we're also respectful people. A lot of smart, hardworking, blue collar people that come out to these Jets games and spend their hard on money to actually to experience it. Don't want to ruin it for themselves, first of all, and for the fellow fan that's there. Don't get me wrong. We like to heckle the opposing team, especially Patriots fans, but at the same time, we host them. We don't discourage anyone that's a part of we have other fan groups that reach out to us and say, hey, can we be a part of it? Yeah, no doubt. We don't tell them, hey, shoot somewhere else, go do your own thing. The more the merrier, because it sets that experience where you're hanging out with fellow Patriots fans, and otherwise you normally wouldn't. So we encourage all that stuff, and we hope everybody that comes back again, because it only means that we're doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of did touch on it a little bit, but my last question for you is, how do you want Gotham City Crew to be remembered?
Well, like anything else, it's leaving that impression on someone, and whether you've been to our tailgate one time or 100 times, you know what you're gonna get, and I want to feel regardless of the monetary part of it, I just wanted you to feel like the 3-4 hours you spent with us was, well worth it, and you wouldn't want to spend it anywhere else on game day. And I think that's the biggest impression that, I want someone that's, that's a part of Gotham City Crew. And now that we're moving, it's actually, I forgot to bring it up earlier. It's actually our 10-year anniversary. So we got some new things in the works. We redesigned the whole website. Shout out to Danny for doing that. We're gonna have an app version on Google and Apple. We're gonna have a membership version, which, a lot of questions a question that we always get a lot is, how do I become a member? I see the jacket, I see this, and a lot of times, hey, just go to the website, buy it, just come out, support, whether it's making a donation to Marty Lyons Foundation, whether it's coming to a tailgate. Now we're going to give you an actual membership package where you're going to get swag every year. You're going to get discounted prices at any event that we're a part of. Because besides tailgates, we've done autograph signings. We've done different events that bring, fans and players together. So any event that we're a part of, as a diehard member, you'll get discounts to that. And again, you'll be a part of the crew, so to speak, and feel like, you're doing your purpose. And everybody knows at this point, we the majority of what we make, we pay it forward anyway. So this is their chance to officially become, a crew member and join the team. And hopefully we can get them to come to all the games. Like anything else, once you're a member of something, like whether you're a member at Costco, do I really want to shop at ShopRite and spend this, or I go and enjoy my membership benefits and get discounted food at Costco? So it's kind of that same concept, and we hope that everybody enjoys it, loves the idea. We're just so excited we made it to our 10-year mark, and we kind of want to do something a little different. Like I mentioned before, we're always looking to enhance the experience.
Well, awesome. Congrats on 10 years for Gotham City Crew. And thank you so much, Lou, for talking with me. And we're so excited to partner with you. And we can't wait for what the future holds with you guys and Fan Day. And we're excited.
We're excited too, and we look forward to having Fan Day there at one of our tailgates. I told Matt and these guys, come over, set up a tent, let people know what you guys are doing, whether it's here, whether it's in Denver, wherever, and that's how we help each other, we network, and we get the word out.
Yeah, awesome.